Good afternoon, everybody. It is Thursday, January 11th, and 2024 has already been a lot of fun, but I wanted to bring you a story today that is local to the Philadelphia area. If you don't already know, I was born and raised third or fourth generation native Philadelphian. My family and I moved out of there post 2020 and the summer of love. It was also roughly when I started posting videos online because nothing I saw on the news accurately reflected what was actually happening in our real lives day to day. That's neither here nor there. We're going to talk about Amos Miller, who is an organic dairy farmer in the Lancaster area. About an hour and a half outside of the metro Philadelphia area, you get to Lancaster, and it's primarily Amish dairy farmers and beef farmers. In fact, it's a lot like Kentucky because there's a large Amish population here. And we very intentionally decided to come live here after living in Philadelphia and seeing the way that it had changed. It's interesting to me. We're going to look at this article. We're going to go through the details of the article, and then I'm really going to break down why this local story has national implications and why I believe this story is not receiving the press that it should. Now, I'm really, really hoping that the internet's going to work with me today. We're going to look at the Lancaster Online. The Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture has shut down Amos Miller's farm on Thursday, armed with a search warrant. State officials removed edible products, primarily dairy, probably eggs, and probably whatever else they could find, based on reports linking them to E. coli infections in two other states. What wasn't removed was placed under detention order, meaning they can't be moved. Now, I know a lot of people are going to read that, and your initial reaction is, well, good, we don't want them to have anything dangerous that could cause, terrible illness and death. We want that regulated, don't we? The department is working with him, really hard. They want to assure you, the Department of Agriculture, working really hard to try to bring Mr. Miller along. But when you're contacted by other states' health department, right, that's not a good look for Pennsylvania. Okay. The department said Miller does not have a state permit, so the government has not allowed him to sell this milk. And how dare he participate in commerce of any kind, right? So there are statutes in place, but it's very rare that punishments are handed down. In this case, it says they contacted the attorney. This is what the papers do. They'll have, say, a report due at 5 o'clock. And they will contact the attorney at 3:30 on a Friday or Thursday night, when they're already gone for the evening. So that's no big surprise to me. The Department of Agriculture said they couldn't really get into it because it's essentially an open investigation. He wasn't willing to be inspected, which is really what they were upset about. He noted to Reading that there are people who want his products. He's long maintained that he does not sell to the public, but rather members of his farm's private membership association. Therefore, he has said previously he doesn't have to comply with government regulations. This is an interesting idea. Now, the Amish do this. They sell locally. They sell eggs and plants and vegetables when harvest comes in. They'll sell puppies and rabbits and pretty much anything you can think of. If they can make it or produce it, they will sell it. They're very shrewd, honest people who have worked hard for what they have, and they don't conform to modern society. Many of them don't even have social security numbers. Their births were never registered. And then this presents like a little bit of a legal issue because if you, another topic for another day, okay? Reading argued it's a matter of public health and fairness to Miller's fellow farmers because the idea is they're doing it and so should you. We know how well that worked out for us in the past. So that could never go wrong. It's good. It's got the neighbors who are in the same business and doing everything they need to do. They're putting product in commercial space, blah, 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 blah. Oh, we just feel so bad for the farmers. We're looking out for you. In an interview Tuesday, Zimmerman reiterated his assertion there's a fine line between individual freedom and government responsibility and said the Miller case is happening at a time of, quote, so little trust in government. Quite frankly, government, whose fault would that be? According to the department, current number of raw milk permit holders. Okay, this is pretty boring. Here's a talk about burying the lead, you guys. We're at the end of this article now, okay? Look, Miller came to the attention of federal authorities in 2016 after the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, okay, so now we're taking the FDA's word for it, said it identified listeria in samples of Miller's raw milk and found it to be genetically similar to the bacteria in two people who developed listeriosis, one of whom died after consuming raw milk. They did not consume the milk from the farm. The complaint was in another state. They then tested his milk and said they found listeria, and that they I guess did a whole gene workup on a listeria, and this whole thing is just very interesting on its face, and that it's genetically similar. So I'm a little confused. You know, we have SA kits dating back to like the 80s that haven't been tested, but the FDA is being sure to spend our tax money wisely by doing a gene workup on a bacteria that they found in an Amish farmer's raw milk. Can you imagine the manpower and hours that actually have gone into this case? Now, again, burying the lead, though, this is what drives me absolutely bananas, okay? And this is why I'm going to link his Give, Send, Go. I guess either in the comments or the description, whatever I can figure out to do. I'm not a techie person, so I'm doing my best here. He has a Give, Send, Go. I think the goal was 150,000, and he has 120,000. I do want to jump on that. I hope it lets me. Oh, I don't know. Let's see if we can find his Give, Send, Go. I'd really, really love to share it with you guys. Okay, so this is the Give, Send, Go for Amos Miller, under attack again. I guess they're looking to cover his court costs, legal fees, and fines. At this point, he's been able to get this before. I think he should potentially, from the looks of it, the trend of this movement here, I would say that he's likely going to get it again. Now, the issue with raw milk is that it's not pasteurized. Pasteurization kills a lot of bacteria that can, in fact, be harmful to human beings. It made me think, though, because when I took, I had to take biology 1 and 2, chem. I was pre-nursing, so I took a lot of science and medical stuff, and I never graduated. I have no letters after my name. I am an idiot. Don't believe anything that I say. Always double check me. Just assume I'm lying and look forward to proving me wrong. And just, you can text me when you figure it out, and then we can talk about it. I mean, I'm totally cool with that too. Here's the issue. Are you aware of what % of our bodies is made up of like bacteria and stuff? In pasteurization, when you kill the good bacteria, it's not that the pasteurization process is somehow innately intelligent and knows which ones are bad according to the Department of Agriculture and which ones should survive and are good and produce living food that living bodies need to flourish. Okay. In my opinion, this seems like a gross overstep and a gross overuse of our federal dollars. Now, of course, this is local to Philadelphia. The far-reaching implications of this nationally in a post-pandemic world, though, are vastly, vastly different, because we have to look at essentially who has the right to regulate what products adults consume, drink, food, plants, herbs, supplements. At this point, we have the FDA covering not all of those things. I understand some things are outside the purview of the FDA. But again, this is all for entertainment purposes only. You should not believe anything I say. I'm a crazy tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist. I don't even believe that the Earth is a NASA ball. Shh, don't tell anybody. That's where the name came from. Okay, post-pandemic. If you look at yesterday's video, we talked about Fauci's closed door hearing and some of the details that were released. Post 2020, do you remember the gross overstep of local and federal government? The weaponization of federal departments to target individuals on the basis of political affiliation, or let's say in the post-pandemic world, doctors being shut down and taken offline and banned and fired because they said like, oh, let's slow down with this response. Maybe this isn't the right response. Maybe there is a better way to treat these people. Those doctors were shut down, vilified, taken off social media, had their, information shadow banned. I mean, targeted from every angle. We had, do you remember? I remember this so clearly. We had a woman doing maybe it was a Facebook Live, let's say, from her house, and she sold some kind of shirts, or it was clothes of some kind, fabric. And so she's showing them. The police knock, this is all on the live. The police knock on the door to tell her to shut it down because there was I guess, a don't do business and you weren't allowed to go anywhere, but you weren't allowed to also do business from home at that point. Salon owners were arrested. We've had people targeted by these departments before. And this feels an awful lot like that, doesn't it? What we saw in this process, one of the things I agree with the spokesman on from the Department of Agriculture is there is a large amount of mistrust in governmental authorities and systems, that most of the authority that they had was in them telling you they were the authority without having to prove a case. And now there's such a mistrust that you really have to convince people what is happening. Why is this Amish farmer suddenly a threat? And that is an interesting perspective to take. I think this is a case where he stood up against them since 2016, and he's consistently supported by, obviously, by neighbors, hopefully by some of you, if you have the resources. I know times are tough for people. Another reason why we should not be dumping out food that's not harmful. Okay, not to get into like what happens to the milk when you pasteurize it, or the fact that 1 to 3% of the body's mass is microorganisms. So there are so many far-reaching implications here. The same FDA that has been in bed with various large industrial complexes throughout the last 20 years. I mean, probably going further back, probably as far as the 1986 Act. So we really have to take a really hard look at, do we want to give government authorities the right to say what we are allowed to consume? And I take that much further than many of my conservative friends and family. I do believe that all plants should be legal. I think when you look at things like commercialization and how that would work into a capitalist system, of course, you have to have regulations in place. But in the case of Amos Miller here, there's nothing that he did that's been proven to cause harm. And for me, if I had to identify with a political party, it would be unlimited capitalist libertarian. I just don't even know where I would put myself. But if what he's doing is not causing harm, if what he's doing is providing a valued service that his members continue to take advantage of, and he's providing that to an area at a time when food is scarce, when he's providing milk probably to Amish friends and neighbors, because bartering is pretty typical within those cultures, because they avoid the use of money, because they don't want to get mixed up in our fucked up government. And can we really blame them? I guess that's the question of the day. If you've gotten this far into the video, I truly appreciate your time. Please like, follow, subscribe, all the good stuff. I am trying to get this channel off and started, and it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle, because we know sometimes hot takes like this are not received favorably by the blessed YouTube powers that be. Have a great day, you guys. I really appreciate your time. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye.